Prophecies that are now around the corner. The Bible says that there will be the destruction of Damascus. The destruction of what is Damascus? Damascus is the capital of Syria. It's the oldest city that's been inhabited, continuously inhabited in the world. Jerusalem is the oldest, but they have been destroyed and not inhabited for long periods of time. Not Damascus. Damascus has always been inhabited continuously. And the Bible says in Isaiah chapter 17, verse 1, Isaiah chapter 17, verse 9, Isaiah chapter 17, verse 14, it says that destruction is coming to Damascus, that it's going to be utterly destroyed, never to be inhabited again. Well, if you look at the news right now, what's going on in Damascus? It's a mess. There are a lot of people in there. There are a lot of different factions in there. I already told you Russia was in there. I already told you Iran was in there. ISIS is in there. Hezbollah is in there. This rebel group, our own commandos are in there. And there's other contractors as well that are in there. A lot of different factions that are in there. Well, the Bible says that something is going to happen to where Israel, Isaiah 17:9, is going to go, and Israel themselves are going to destroy that city and never to be inhabited again. What could be the cause of that? As I just finished reading to you, right now they're threatening and they're saying, we've got a lot of missiles that we can shoot into you, Israel. And keep in mind, Syria is a proxy. In other words, is an extension of Iran. Iran is right now trying to build nuclear bombs. Iran is even buying S-300s and S-400s that Israel has said, there are 2 deal breakers, and we will attack you, Iran, if you do. 1, if you enrich that uranium enough to get nuclear bombs, we're not going to let that happen. 2, if you get the S-300s and S-400s from Russia, you buy those to where if we try to fly over you, you can shoot us down. We will not let you assemble those. If you buy those, before you assemble them, we will come and bomb those. Well, right now, we, the United States, have enabled Syria, should I say Iran, to be able to get all these billions of dollars. And now Iran is trying to buy the S-300s and S-400s. And so as we speak, they have the money to be able to buy them. And Israel has said, if you buy those, we will destroy them. And Iran recognizes that. If Israel does go in there and bomb, for whatever reason, Iran has said, we will use our proxies to immediately start raining down rockets into you, which is Syria, which is Lebanon. And I just finished reading to you that they're threatening each other right now. And right before our very eyes, this can happen at any moment. Listen, a mistake can happen in Syria. There are so many people, there are so many F-16s, F-17s flying. There are all sorts of mistakes that can happen as we speak. And many military experts, and you saw the CIA director, he says, I don't sleep at night thinking about a chemical attack, thinking about these guys using these weapons of mass destruction and causing a much larger conflict. The destruction of Damascus. What else could happen at any moment now? I told you guys that the 4 or 5 nations that have been fighting Israel since they became a nation in 1948 are not included in the battle of Gog and Magog. Namely, Lebanon, Jordan, Egypt, Syria, Saudi Arabia. Those nations right now are amassing armies ready to fight each other, Sunni and Shiite together. Ready to fight each other as we speak. If they happen to say, you know what, we hate each other, Sunnis and Shiites, they hate each other since Muhammad died and try to develop a successor. If they were to decide, you know what, why are we fighting each other? Let's fight Israel. And they start attacking Israel. The Bible says, Psalms chapter 83, these nations are going to come up with a wicked plan. They're going to come up with a plan to destroy Israel. And the Bible says that God, He prophesies that Israel is going to come and attack those nations and destroy those nations, and all of a sudden Israel will have peace. Israel will not have to have walls. That hasn't happened. Why is that? Because they have Hamas, they have Hezbollah, they have the Palestinians, they have the Syrians, they have everybody right around them always trying to destroy them. There's no peace right now. But if they attack, Israel has said, we will use all our firepower to once and for all take care of this. And I believe that if these crazy Islamic groups start shooting in chemical weapons or whatever into Israel, Israel has a saying, never again. Never again. What happened to our people by Hitler and the extermination of the Jews and the gassing of the Jews, never again. We will use our full arsenal to make sure that doesn't happen. They have what they have, the Samson option. If you remember Samson, he blew it and he got his eyes plucked out, hands holding up the pillars, and he asked God at the very end of his life, God, help me in my death to kill more of your enemies than I ever did while I was living. And God gave him the ability to bring down the pillars, and in his death, he committed suicide to a certain degree, but he destroyed those enemies. And Israel has said, remember Masada, remember the Samson option, and we will use whatever we have to if you attack us. And they play no games. It's not just rhetoric, it's not just talk. Prime Minister Netanyahu has said unequivocally, we will use everything at our disposal to make sure if you attack us, we will take care of business. The Bible says in Ezekiel chapter 38 that God is going to use a hook to bring in Russia. What will be that hook? If Israel attacks Syria and destroys it right now, who's in Syria? A lot of the Russians are in Syria. A lot of their money is in Syria. The hook to bring in Iran. Why will Iran want to do that? Because they have generals in Syria. They have their Marines in Syria. So if Israel was provoked and they retaliated, that would be the hook that brings in these nations to attack Israel, Ezekiel 38 and 39. But that's not the only one. Now, right before our very eyes, there's another hook that just happened last year. Last year, Israel announced the largest oil find, a huge oil find, right in their northern border. In the Golan Heights, they found a huge oil find that is worth billions and billions and billions of dollars. And now there's another hook, because the Bible says in Ezekiel 38, it says to Gog and it says to the other nations, why are you coming into Israel? Why are you coming to do this devious plan? Is it for the booty, for the riches? And many people for years said, I don't understand that. I mean, all Israel has is maybe some cattle. They don't really have a lot of things. I mean, they have fruit, they have trees, they have flowers. They don't really have a lot. And they always complained, hey, God, our Arab brethren, they got the oil and we got the brains. But we really don't have any riches. Until last year. Last year, the stage was set for the hook, monetarily, economically, for somebody like Russia to say, I don't care about this whole religious thing, but I want that money. I want that oil. And what's going on with Russia as we speak? They are in desperate situations. Why? Because the cost and the barrel of oil is so low, and over 70% of their economy is from oil. So because over 70% of the economy is from oil, as well as Iran, Venezuela, and some other nations, they need war to happen to get the price of oil up, or they need to get more oil to be able to sell more of it, to be able to make more money. And now Russia is saying, hey, Israel, you're in occupied land. Now Syria is saying, hey, Israel, you're in occupied land. You took Golan Heights from us in 1967. Never mind the fact that Israel didn't fight them first. Israel was being defensive and was receiving rockets from the Golan Heights. And so therefore, they won that war and took over the Golden Heights so they wouldn't have rockets rain down on them. It's equivalent to us, the United States, when we fought Mexico and we took over Texas. What if ever since that happened to now, Mexico says, hey, America, Texas is in occupied lands. California is in occupied lands. Israel is in occupied, Arizona is in occupied lands. That's equivalent to them saying that. Or right now, if Russia was, people were saying, hey, Russia, you have gone into Ukraine, into Crimea. That's nobody says that except for Israel. And right now, that cry is going out. It used to be really just for Judea and Samaria, the West Bank. They really wouldn't say anything about the Golden Heights until they found that oil. And a couple of years ago, the natural gas. Huge amounts of money in natural gas and oil. And now they're saying, hey, Israel, that's occupied land. And Israel's not going to let go of it. And now you have the hook for Ezekiel 38 and 39, right before our very eyes.